Hello and welcome back to the Entertainment Vortex. Today we were at Brendan Theaters watching Vice. This movie is going to be divisive, strictly due to the fact that it is a political movie in all intents of the word. This is a dramatized biopic. While it is that in some way, shape, or form, at the heart of this movie, you can tell from the very first scene, the very first text that you read, that this is going to be a comedy. And it definitely plays to those strengths. Adam McKay, the director and writer, is a comedy heavyweight at this point. Done a lot of great work with Saturday Night Live, with Will Ferrell, and has some degree of comedic pedigree and also of the political type genre with The Big Short. So this film definitely kind of merges some of those concepts from those two types of film. It was really, really entertaining to watch. Being someone that may potentially lean a little harder to the left, it's definitely going to be something that I enjoyed potentially more than someone who might lean a little more towards the right. Now, if you're willing to see these types of things poked fun at a little bit, if you're willing to follow this black comedy, through everything, it's definitely got a lot of redeeming qualities, regardless of which direction you lean politically. Getting away from some of those things, the acting performances are absolutely outstanding. The transformation of Christian Bale, not just to being Dick Cheney as a whole, but like him growing up as Dick Cheney from young adulthood all the way up to his last moments in the White House are, a spectacle. It's definitely something worth watching just for that. The makeup, direction, and the design were all flawless, and then on top of that, he put in some work to change the way that his body actually is as well. Typical Christian Bale, diving in and doing the most that he can with what he's already given. Now, his performance is also foiled in a way and also supported by a great cast of supporting actors. Amy Adams is absolutely excellent as his wife and as the female lead of this story. Steve Carell puts in a great performance. Tyler Perry, whoever thought I would say that Tyler Perry's putting in a great performance, but as Colin Powell, he definitely embodies that kind of measured and calculated motif. But the acting performances are actually absolutely stellar, and I really, really enjoyed seeing, like I said, the transformations of these people becoming people that I watched on television in the news when I was younger. As far as the story is concerned, a lot of these things are based on true events, but it's tough to tell how much of it is actually factually accurate. I'm sure that there are going to be some people who are going to say, oh yeah, this is definitely 100% accurate. There are going to be a bunch of people who are going to say that it's not accurate at all. And I think, like I said, that's going to come down to how you lean politically, potentially. This movie, at this point in time, is getting divisive reviews from other critics and from fans. There are a lot of people who are touting it as a great black comedy that totally takes politics as a whole in a section where politics are being discussed heavily on the internet and on the news, and there's biased channels to see everything, and kind of putting a microscope on that a little bit, showing what potential damage that might have. And it definitely is poignant as far as today's society, like I said, where the internet is king, where everybody is constantly having an argument over this and that. Current political climate aside, even just talking about stuff that happened in Dick Cheney's era as vice president, people still discuss whether or not there's some kind of a conspiracy, or there are a lot of people who do consider it to have been like a shadow presidency where Dick Cheney was really pulling the strings. And from what this movie shows, it's going to be a similar motif, where Bush is essentially just a figurehead, Cheney's kind of set up his own cabinet and is kind of pulling all of the strings behind the scenes. A lot of people aren't going to like that. I'd say just about half are not going to be a fan of this portrayal, basically saying that someone who was voted in by the slimmest of margins really had nothing to do with anything you saw happen over that course of 8 years. People are going to take offense to that. That's just how it works. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, I felt like the way that they played with things and the way that they, in some ways, got really meta and broke the fourth wall, but didn't go too far out into that realm, and made it something enjoyable to watch. And like I said, the actual comedic moments of this movie, without a doubt, some of the funniest things I've seen in theaters over the last year. For me, that's incredible. Like I said, I feel like this type of a movie, it can go one of two ways. It can either be a really dark, heavy drama, or it can have some lightness to it and try to breach a bigger audience. And I feel like this went that route, and it did it with class, with style, and was something that I truly enjoyed. There are a couple of negatives. It jumps bounced around with the timeline a little bit when Nick and I were discussing it after we watched the film. Some of those things maybe didn't land as well as others. There were some times where jumping back and forth in the timeline made sense, and there were some times where it just felt like they were setting up a plot device they were going to show you later, and it was going to work better later, but it didn't work as well early on. Some of the pacing due to those things was a little bit off. It wasn't enough to fully break immersion or anything like that, but the lulls in between some of the more comedic moments definitely didn't carry a lot of the same weight. But for me, like I said, someone who kept tabs on this pretty heavily when it was actually happening as far as our history is concerned, I loved all of that. I was fully invested. I was ready to watch. Like I said, the fact that they went the black comedy route was just entertaining. The movie itself is going to be divisive, therefore this review is going to be divisive. But like I said, I feel like even if you are able to set some of your political leanings aside, there's a lot to enjoy about this film, especially with a great script and great performances. Overall, I'd say I would give this movie a 9 out of 10. Like I said, there are some minor pacing issues and some plot devices that work better in some places than others, but the comedic moments shine, the acting performances shine. It's definitely something that's worth the watch. Like I said, if you can put your political beliefs aside and just enjoy, I think that you'll be pleasantly surprised.
If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We give you multiple videos every single week. And we have t-shirts available if you're interested in those as well. Those are available down in the description below. We hope you'll follow us into the Vortex. We'll see you next time.